Seriously?
Hey guys, and welcome to this tactics video with myself, 6 Plus Stevo. In this one we're going to be talking about these Deff Dreads. We're going to have a good look at the different build options for Deff Dreads. I did one of these videos quite a while ago, back for the 8th edition codex, called Let's Build a Deff Dread. I'll pop a link in the corner if you're interested in seeing that one. Most of that information's outdated by now. So I thought it was a popular video and it was a fun video to do. And so I thought it'd be a good time to revisit that and do an updated version for the 9th edition codex. So that's what we're going to be doing. If you hear any faint noises in the background, my missus is in the same room. You're excited, aren't you, darling? We're talking about Deff Dreads in this one. Yeah. So try and contain yourself, alright? Okay. Good girl. Right, so I've prepared some notes. I'll also be showing images up on the screen of the different loadouts and things. But yeah, this one is all about trying out different options with the Deff Dreads. Because Deff Dreads are really, really fucking good now. Really good. So we'll start off with, I'll move my notes to one side for the moment, and we'll start off with the stat line of the Deff Dreads. It comes in at a power level of 6. It has a movement of 6, a weapon skill of 3+, ballistic skill 5+, strength 5, toughness 7, 8 wounds, 3 attacks base, so that's an improvement, leadership 7 and a 3+ save, and it can be equipped with any of the following: big shooters, custom mega blasters, rocket launchers, scorcher and dreadclaw. They've done away with the stupid dread saws, and they've done away with the stupid options before where you could only replace a big shooter or a claw with saws or some of the other guns. So now all the options are open to you. You can equip it with any of the 4 weapons in any combinations. So that's really cool. They also benefit from the Here We Go rule, the War rule, and most importantly of all, the Ramshackle rule, which makes them a lot more survivable. Any weapons lower than strength 8, you reduce the damage of those weapons by 1. So they're a lot more resilient than they used to be. They can be set up in mobs of 1 to 3. And then you set them all up together, and then they split off and operate as separate units, but in your detachment they only count as 1 unit, which is a really cool ability to have. But yes, there are many options open to Deff Dreads, and a lot of customizability, not just with the weapon loadouts but with the various clan traits. We now have specialist mobs as well, and we have the custom jobs, so we've got a lot of different things we can play around with to really tweak our Deff Dreads for a specific role on the table. And yeah, I mean, I've got 3 of these so far. This is Snap of Snap, Crackle and Pop fame, but I'm going to add to that. I'm going to get more, because in trying out some different combinations for this video, there are some that are really ticking the boxes for me that I'm going to have to build and add to my Dread mob. But yeah, without further ado, let's get to the first one. So we come to first the catchingly titled No Mucking About Dread. This boy comes in at 100 points. I've loaded him out with 4 dread claws, no guns at all, giving him the clan trait Goths and the custom job Shocker Hull. So yeah, the clues in the title for this one: typical Goth, no mucking about, no messing about with guns, we're just getting straight into combat. So this fella has 7 attacks base. 3 attacks plus 1 each for each claw, so yeah, 7 attacks, absolutely devastating. With exploding 6s being a Goth, so any of them to hit rolls, roll a 6, lands 2 hits instead of 1. So you could potentially land more hits than you've got attacks. Also, on the charge, being a Goth, +1 strength, so that'll bring the Dread up to strength 6. The claws will double that to strength 12. So on the charge, a strength 12. That means you're wounding toughness 6 models on a 2+. Very, very nice indeed. I've also given the Shocker Hull, so as he's going to be spending the vast majority of his time in combat, I thought give him the shocker hole custom job, because then any return attacks on him are going to be flinging out some mortal wounds on the enemy on top of his already ridiculous amount of attacks and damage output. So yeah, the Goff no mucking about dread is not one to tangle with, and a bargain price at 100 points. In fact, the vast majority of these dreads are very cheap. They're an absolute bargain in my opinion. The next one, a little bit more expensive. This one comes in at 130 points, and this one I've dubbed the Speedy Dread. So this one is armed with 1 Dread Claw and 3 custom Mega Blasters. I've given the clan trait Evil Sons and the custom job Stompomatic Pistons. So yeah, again, clues in the title. Speedy, it's all about speed. So on the attacks front, it's only going to get 4 attacks because it's only got the 1 Dread Claw, but its main attacks is in its shooting attacks, and that is with the 3 custom Mega Blasters. So you're getting 3 D3 shots there, spitting out some nice damage and some really nice AP with those custom Mega Blasters. But with the clan trait and the custom job, this dread's getting a basic 10-inch movement, which is just absolutely brutal. This thing is as fast as a Deathkiller Wartrike. That is rapid, really rapid. You've got a base 6-inch movement. You're getting +3 for the Stompomatic Pistons and a +1 for the clan trait. So yeah, 10-inch movement. It also gets a +2 to the advance roll as well. So you could potentially advance up to 18-inch movement with this dread. So yeah, it's got an absolutely huge threat range with those custom Mega Blasters being able to move that distance. You can get this dread to where it's needed to target enemy tanks or target high priority, high armor targets. It's going to be really deadly. And I think even though it's a bit more expensive at 130 points, I think it warrants that cost. Because also with the Evil Sons clan trait, you're suffering no penalty to the ballistic skill. Because the custom Mega Blasters are all assault weapons, and of course the Evil Sons trait means you can advance and not take any negative modifiers to your shooting for assault weapons. So yeah, this thing is really deadly, really fast. It's got a bit of combat potential with 4 attacks. It's still not going to be no slouch in combat, even though it's only got the 1 claw. But yeah, those custom Mega Blasters are going to be really nice. Now the slight downside is with 3 of them, it does carry quite a high risk at hurting itself with those mortal wounds from the weapons getting hot if you roll any of them 1s. So I would advise keeping a big mech or a mech nearby just to repair, but that is going to be very hard actually because of the sheer amount of speed this thing moves at. There's going to be no mech that can keep up. That is unless you're using like Legends rules and you have a big mech on a bike that can keep up with this thing. But yeah, I think this thing will be absolutely great. Nipping around the battlefield, just sprinting around, firing off shots. If it needs to, it can get into combat. Huge threat range. Absolutely vicious damage potential with them custom Mega Blasters. This is going to be a high priority target for your enemy because they're not going to want this near any of their tanks. On to the next one. Now this next one, guys, I'm not going to lie to you, this is my favourite, and this will be the next dread I add to my dread mob. This one is called the Daca Dread, and it comes in at a bargain 100 points. I've loaded this guy out with just 4 big shooters. It's got the clan trait, Bad Moons, obviously, and I've given it the custom job, More Daca. Now this thing really is quite special. If you like your Daca, then this is the dread for you. Now, the downsides is he's got no claws at all. It's just guns. So he only gets 3 attacks at his base strength 5 in melee. No AP, no multi-damage. It's going to be damage 1, AP nothing. So you do not want this guy caught up in combat. That's the downside of this dread. But that's not really that important because I don't think much is going to get near him anyway. Because he gets 42-inch range with the increased range of the Bad Moon trait, giving him 12 shots at 48-inch range with them big shooters. But within Daca range, which is a lovely 24 inches, he's getting 20 shots. But it gets better because we've given him the more Daca custom job. If you roll a 4+ before you shoot, then you are getting an extra 4 shots. And if you roll a 6+, you're getting an extra 8 shots from this Deff Dread. That's giving you a total of 28 shots at Daca range, which is bloody lovely. And it can get even better if you combine this guy with a Deff Killer Wartrike and you declare the Speed War. Then during that Speed War, he's going to get a potential 32 shots from that one dread. And they're all going to be hitting. During the Speed War, they're going to be AP -1, so quite nasty. And of course, being Bad Moon, you're getting exploding 6s to wound, so they're all being AP1. During a Speed War, they're AP -2. That is a fantastic infantry killer that's just spitting out a serious amount of Daca. Whether or not it would be so worth it in another clan, I don't know. It could possibly work with freebooters quite well, being on the +1 to hit with all those Daca shots. But I personally think with the Bad Moons, them exploding 6s, the extra range, I think this is going to be an absolute death-spitting Daca machine, and I absolutely love it. And I can't wait to build one. It's going to be great fun to build one and use one. And 100 points for all those shots. It's absolutely beautiful. The next one we've got, the Bernie Dread. Really inventive names with these, I'm sure you'll agree. This one I've loaded out with 2 Dreadclaws and 2 Scorchers. Now I haven't put this one in a clan. Instead I've assigned this one a specialist mob and given it the Big Crumpers specialist mob. The custom job is non-applicable because you cannot give a custom job to a unit that is in a specialist mob. That kind of sucks. That is a bit of a bummer. In making this video and writing up these different types of dreads, it's the first time I noticed that. But yeah, that sucks a little bit. But I still think this Bernie Dread will be quite tasty. So, obviously, the big benefits. Well, he's cheap, for one. Comes in at 95 points. And he's getting auto hits with them Scorchers, which is lovely. Scorchers are so good now. The 12-inch range is lovely. You're getting nice high strength, a little bit of AP, and 2d6 auto hits. Absolutely beautiful. Auto hitting weapons with orcs with their low ballistic skill is always a plus. And yeah, the increased range that Scorchers now have has just made them so much better than they already were. The best thing is as well, because they're assault weapons and they auto hit, you can advance without any worries. It's not going to affect your ranged weapons, and being able to advance is going to help you get within that 12-inch range to be able to let these things off and make the enemy do the Bernie dance. And with the Big Crumpers specialist mob, you're getting +1 to hit in combat. So with the 2 Dreadclaws, it's getting 5 attacks, this fella, and hitting on 2s, which is very, very nice indeed. So no one's going to want to get close to this thing, because they get within 12 inches, they're going to get burnt to a crisp. And if they do make it into melee with this thing, then he's hitting on 2s and going to be causing horrific damage. Really, really nice. Now, what I would do with this guy, personally, I wouldn't run him up the field because of that short range. I personally would put this fella on a teleport pad and teleport him in 9 inches away from the enemy and let rip with them Scorchers. That's so nice being able to do that now. Obviously, all those types of weapons in the old edition, we couldn't do that with because we were outside that 8-inch range. Now we're inside that range. We can just teleport down and hit what we want to when we want to. It's beautiful. And then if you wanted to get really nasty, I would use the stratagem in the charge phase to follow up with that, and use the ramming speed stratagem, getting a 3d6 re-rollable charge in, throw out some mortal wounds, and then start hitting on 2+ in combat. So this guy would be an absolutely devastating surprise for your opponent, and I think could work really, really well. Yeah, you do have to give up your whatever your clan trait is to get this, so it's gonna depend what clan you're using with this guy and whether you want to put him in the specialist mob, Big Crumpers. But I think upping it to hitting on 2s instead of hitting on 3s is worth it. It just makes those attacks that much more reliable. And the last dread, this guy, the Crazy Dread, comes in at 125 points. Now, originally, I just threw this guy in for shits and giggles because basically I thought, well, you can do this, so why not do this? But actually, as I started writing notes on this guy and putting him together, I thought, actually, he would be quite good. So what I've loaded him out with is one big shooter, one rocket launcher, one custom mega blaster, and one scorcher. Yeah, I've basically given him one of every gun, just for shits and giggles. I've also given him the clan trait Blood Axes and the custom job Shocker Hull. So yeah, he's going to be fun to use, and like I said, I did originally just make him for a laugh. He comes in 125 points, so he's quite pricey, but the more I look at him, the more I think he could actually be quite useful on the table. First off, he can deal with a variety of different targets. You've got the big shooter for light infantry, you've got the scorcher for auto hitting and close range stuff, and also handy for Overwatch. The rocket launcher and the custom mega blaster spit out some high damage for tough targets and vehicles. The downsides is that, like the Daca Dread, he's got no melee weapons. If he gets caught in combat, he's going to be in trouble. But this is where I've given him the Shocker Hull. So anything attacking is going to be suffering some mortal wounds. So he's going to be a little bit risky to attack. And also with the Blood Axe clan trait, he's able to fall back from assaults and then still shoot. So if he does get where he doesn't want to be, caught out in combat, he can fall back and then let rip with that variety of weapons and cause a variety of wounds. And also at range, he's going to be fairly protected because the Blood Axe clan trait grants light cover at any target over 18 inches away. So he can sit sort of fairly far back, Daca in a way of his big shooter, custom mega blaster, rocket launcher, gaining the benefits of light cover, so he'll have a 2+ save, which is going to be really, really nice, combined with that ramshackle rule. And then if, like I say, if anything does get close and threatens him at close range, he's got the Scorcher to rely on, and got the fact that he can fall back, and the Shocker Hull to dish out some mortal wounds. So yeah, there you go, guys. That is just 5 Deff Dreads that I've come up with, and there are infinite or almost infinite possibilities with all the different weapon combinations, the different clan traits, the specialist mobs, the custom jobs, and then being able to buff these things further through things like the speed war or the war ability and various stratagems and things. There is so much you can do with Deff Dreads now. There are some fantastic tricks you can deploy. I particularly love teleporting all 3 of my dreads down in one mob, and then they split off in 3 different directions, causing carnage. That's always really good fun. But yeah, there's loads of different ways you can use these guys. If you back them up with big mechs, trudging up the field, the big mechs can be constantly repairing them, protecting them with them custom force fields. There really is a lot of fun to be had with Deff Dreads, and I think they're probably in the best place they've ever been at the moment. They really, really are good. They're very competitively priced in terms of points. They can do any job you want them to do, and yeah, I mean, what's not to like? So if you've got some Deff Dread builds that you've come up with, please share them with everyone. Share them down in the comment section below. I'd love to read them and see what you guys have come up with your Deff Dreads. But yeah, guys, get out there, grab some dreads, get building. You can never have too many. Build up your dread mobs and have some fun with them. But yeah, there you go, guys. That's it for this tactics video. If you've enjoyed it, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one, guys. This is 6+ Stevo signing out. 48-inch range with the Bad Moon trait, with the extra 6-inch range on these this thing. No, he doesn't. 42-inch range, dickhead. So if you've got some Deff Dread builds that you really like, share them down in the comment section below, and let me know about them. Oh God, I'm fluffing these lines up now. How was that, darling? Were you gripped?
I have no fucking idea what you're talking about.